Hey, did you? I just saw it here. Paul Heyman lied. Yeah, I know. Hi. Oh, Todd, there's people in the room. Come on.
Sorry.
You must have been reading Moxley's book.
I was just reading Dean Martin's autobiography. That's right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the best of the KC Vault. And I'm just hanging out with my buddy Tod Gordon, who happens to be a best-selling author now, in addition to being the founder of ECW. So all those things, all those things you. So that's great.
Thank you.
So, did you request that?
No, he made it up on his own.
You asshole. So the story for all the viewers, welcome to the room. Thank you for coming and watching this. We're going to have some fun here. Hello, Hasso, who's saying Todd's on pod. Hello, Don Teasy. Todd is God. I agree with that. Derek Hernston, turn on the tube. Let's go. The story behind that was Todd was just on what was it, a Scandinavian podcast or something?
Actually, it was Canada.
Close. And the very thick French Canadian accent was cutting through, and Todd made mention of me as the co-author of his book, and they said, "Oh, we're very familiar with him. He made Beyond the Mat." So that's just going to follow me, I guess. the Barry Blaustein thing, I have to. I've got to shirk that. I got to grow a mustache or something, or shave my head. We're gonna talk ECW. This is all about you guys, really. So you are going to give us your questions, your comments. We're going to tell stories. We're going to talk about the aforementioned Todd is God book, the autobiography, which debuted at #1 on Amazon's wrestling list. Available also in audiobook, which I know a lot of people are enjoying, specifically for my impression of Too Cold Scorpio. And we're also going to have some guest readers tonight, Todd, which will be very exciting. Yes, reading passages from the book. From time to time, we will have somebody read something for the fans here, because we love the kayfabe commandos, as you've taken to calling yourselves.
And Steve, thank you for putting that up, because there's a whole story there that Sean probably doesn't want people to know, that he lost everything when they sued him over the copyright for Beyond the Mat. It's a sad story.
Right.
He's got a GoFundMe page. We're all down now. It's all good.
But once I was the subject of a few professional lawsuits, it qualified me to meet Tod Gordon.
Absolutely.
So, who I could go to for advice on said topics. Now, Steve, don't hide. You can pop up every once in a while too, if there's anything that you'd like to contribute. You instantly have street creds for this discussion because you're from Philly.
Thank you. I like turning up with street cred without having to say anything.
Absolutely.
By existing street cred.
You can attest for the folks that are paid subscribers to the Click This channel. You were at the taping last night, but for those of you that weren't, I brought up ECW on the Nash show because AEW was in Philly. And as their big surprise, Todd, they brought out, who would you bring out in Philly?
The Nature Boy.
Ric Flair.
What says Philly?
I said, where's Sandman? Where's Taz? Where's a fucking angle that people can fucking mark out over that AEW would do something WWE would never do? That's the thing. You got to do what WWE would never do.
The Blue Meanie, for God's sakes.
He's looking for work. Yeah. So
Blue Meanie would have got a pop.
I was a little
from that AEW crowd.
Absolutely. I was indignant about that last night. So
I was down in Philly.
You were in Philly?
Where you were indignant, right? When you...
Gotcha. Nice. So, Steve, you had some comments you were bringing up there. There was an image that I didn't get to see.
So a few things I'm bringing up. First off,
yes.
These are the current key holders watching us live.
Oh, great.
So these are the paid folks, and then this will get you into what you need to say to how to become a key holder. It's the join button right down below $14.99 a month, you get access to the entire KC Vault, the Kayfabe Commentaries library. And shout out to Mark D. Brown. Sean, you're the best interviewer in all of wrestling. He paid $5 just to say that.
You sent me $5 for that. Thank you, Mark. That's
Nice.
That's good work, Mark.
unnecessary, but appreciated.
And he is, by the way.
It's not a crowded lot. It never has been. That's the key. Don't go to Hollywood. Make your movies in Padunka. So thank you, Mark. Thank you for being here. And the other key holders that subscribe and get their content every month. We love doing exclusive stuff. I don't do enough, Steve. I don't do enough. Stuff like this, bringing Todd on, we don't do it enough. We should do it more.
I agree.
And Steve, if this gives you any kind of indication what our sessions were like writing the book, yeah, it was a lot like this the whole time.
I said somewhere, maybe I wrote it in the book. Thank you for the pop, Brian. That it was equal parts writing and the Sid Caesar writing room, because we did have a lot of fun. God, we did, and it was a lot of time. It was about I want to say probably 30 sessions,
At least
30 sessions each. 2 hours, hour and a half. So it's,
they each had at least 12 good minutes of usable stuff, right?
Absolutely. And I was a madman back then. I just want to tell everybody right now, Steve Kaufman, I love for one reason. Forget about his hard work on the Click This podcast and here at the KC Vault. Forget about his impressive grooming of his beard. He introduced me to a software that transcribes for me. When I did Todd's book, we would talk for 2 hours. I would go upstairs before bed, open my computer, play the audio of the meeting, and furiously take notes. And as I'm doing it, I'm earmarking, move this to this section, move that, coloring this, move that to that section. It was maddening. By the time I was done, it was harrowing. So is it called Descript that I use, for God's sakes?
It is called Descript.
Oh,
it is.
Descript. Now I record with my subject. I dump the file in and it comes out all printed as text. Even identifies with a wave, identifies the speaker's voice. So it gives me a sample. I say, this is me. Gives me another sample of what they think is a different voice. I say, this is Waltman. And then like a script, it's Oliver Waltman for the whole conversation. I typed yours, Todd.
Wow.
Fucking madman.
Have you logged into Descript lately? Because they have a whole suite of AI features they launched this week. Now you can query the transcript to be like, pull me all the times Sean Oliver talked. Pull me all the times Sean Waltman talked about this topic, and it'll query the whole thing. It's even better.
Just pull those sections. Oh, that's great.
Would he have had time to do that? Because he's logged into YouPorn all the time.
Well,
second computer. Computer. I only need one hand to type.
Nice.
The work computer.
Exactly. So those of you who are here who have the book, feel free to share your memories. Let us know what your favorite chapters were, what your favorite stories were, your favorite parts of Todd's life. Now, of course, it's ECW heavy. Oh, John Falsetta sent $2 and said, thank you for ECW. Truly, Todd is God. Thank you, John. So the book is more than just the ECW stories. I know people love it for that because there's so much stuff nobody ever heard before. Even workers, Todd, right? You went on Francine's podcast and blew her mind with a lot of content.
She was like, are you kidding me? That whole thing was a work, and I've never known it all these years. You're blowing my mind, which is not hard to do, but yes.
Yeah. But but also are items from Todd's life, which I found interesting. And Todd was fighting with me to put more wrestling, less him. But I found him and his story interesting, so I wanted to delve into his family and the legacy of the store and everything. So that was a little bit of back and forth we had, right, Todd?
Absolutely. Actually, my favorite session we ever had was one time you turned to me and said, "Are you not drinking today?" And I said, "Well, no, it's early." And he said, "This is the most boring session I've ever had with you. Would you please go make a cocktail?" I went, "What? Please." I did. Next thing you know, Sean's going, "Now we're home."
Do you have one? Oh, thank you. Good. You remembered your lesson. Much like when you put Sandman in the ring every night, certain things had to happen beforehand. He had one sober match, right? Against Mick Foley. Tell me about that.
Worst match he ever had, ever. Mick Foley came into my office. Carver Reed said, "Todd, I can't work with Sandman anymore. He's too drunk. It's horrible. I'm not comfortable. I don't want to do it anymore." So I pulled Sandman aside. And by the way, people don't know Sandman's my best friend for over 30 years now. He, Fonzie, and Too Cold Scorpio, literally 30 years now. I said, "Sandman, you can't drink tonight. Cactus doesn't want to work with you anymore. You're going to have to go out there and rough it." Of course, Sandman goes to the ring, Glenn Olden, PA, takes the microphone, and I told him this in confidence, of course, he's my friend, dude, he's complaining about you. He's a much bigger name than you are. You're going to have to deal with it. Takes the mic and goes, "Yo, Cactus, you don't want me drinking? You went to Tod Gordon's office?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God," I told him this in confidence. So Cactus comes out. It was the drizzling shits. I sat there with Paul, and Paul said, what is wrong? What is going on?" I go, "Oh, he's sober." He goes, "He sucks sober." I go, "Because now he's being tentative. When he's drinking, he's not worried about getting hurt. He's not worried about being crazy with his body. It's a whole different Sandman." He goes, "Was there anywhere in between there that we could meet in the middle somewhere where he can still work, be a little buzzed and not be whacked so on and so forth?" But yeah, that was the worst match you ever saw in all of ECW. Cactus,
Yeah.
Sandman sober.
Yeah, that great stories in the book as well. One of the other things we're doing here is we're announcing another tip from Brad Bingham. Love the interviews with Todd. Thank you, Brad.
Hey, man.
Who gets this money? We're doing is we're kicking off. It goes to the Variety Club. We're kicking off the release of Timeline 92-93. Timeline ECW, which Todd did with me in the original ECW arena. It was a double DVD set, and it was hot as balls. I just remember being saturated under the suit. But it's a great interview, and it'll be up for free on the Best of the KC Vault channel.
That's the first time we ever met, was that day.
That's absolutely correct. I called you out of the blue and said, we have this series. We've done a bunch of episodes like 95, 94, but I can't do 92 with anybody but you. And you were gracious and only held me up for slightly more money than I
was just gonna say. I said, "You're offering me how much?" When you
it's okay.
What am I, Sean Waltman?
Well, you made it back in rings. S87 says Todd was robbed. I read the book. That's great. So we're talking about the book. I think we should have a reading here. Here's an actual passage from the book. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring on Academy Award winner James Earl Jones. Ladies and gentlemen,
what?
This perhaps. Yes. The posse met the woman into submissive role play who begat the Todd is God chant. She was sweet, cute, funny, and had a serious sexual fetish. She was being dominated, and the posse was more than happy to oblige. There wasn't any kind of physical violence or abuse. It was just that sexual role play really turned her on. We nicknamed her the Pony after Raven asked one day about the dog and pony show he heard going on the night before. She was actually a lot of fun. Hey, people are into different stuff. Some like their martinis dirty, some like them dry, and she likes to be tied up, blindfolded, and given commands. To each their own. One night in my hotel room, she asked to be tied to the leg of the table, naked and blindfolded. The posse was in my room, so we first tended to her request, then sat around bullshitting and smoking. After 15 or 20 minutes, we forgot she was there, but that was what she asked for. Eventually, Fonzie, Hack, and Scorpio headed downstairs to the hotel bar, and Paul called my room looking to come up and smoke a doob. I invited him up, not really remembering there was a naked, silent submissive still tied to the table leg, in what can only be described as a moment fit for a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Paul walked into the room, saw her, spun around bug-eyed, and flew out of the room at top duck waddle speed. He flapped his flippers all the way down the hall and out of sight. It was the fastest I'd ever seen him move. I fell into hysterics. Thank you very much. And thank you. Thank you.
And what you don't know is we almost brought him in, James Earl Jones, to be J.T. Smith's father in an angle, but it didn't happen.
No. I'd imagine you guys were far apart on money in that negotiation.
Yeah, pretty much.
A little bit.
So we went for the hooker from Hugh Grant.
Leon Spinks.
No, the hooker.
Divine Brown.
Divine Brown, yes.
Yeah.
Much more affordable.
So we let's get some questions here. There are a lot of people in the room, a lot of action here. Steve, who would like to ask Todd a question?
Or Sean.
Jason Biaggi. Hey, boys. Hey, Todd. Pats or Geno's?
You know, I used to say Jim's, but of course it burnt down like 2 years ago. I'm going to go Pat's.
I had both on the same day. I left your store after handing you a fortune, and your lovely daughter gave me directions so that we could hit both. Well, they're across the street. You can do that if you get to one of them. Right. And you know what? I didn't find much difference. But which is the one? If I'm headed, is it?
You're killing me. Seriously.
Why?
I get lost going to like. You ask me which.
With directions. That's true. You get lost in your fucking bathroom. Yeah, but I didn't find there to be much difference. The fries at one were better than the other. I don't remember which one though. Thank you, Jason. Who else? Who in the house? Who in the house with questions? David Frederick. I met Tod Gordon at a store in Philadelphia in the fall of 1993 to purchase tickets for an October show.
I remember that.
If I liked J.T. Smith. I said, not really. He pointed behind me. JT was standing behind me, and he was not happy.
Now I remember. That's true.
David, that's a great story. You should have put that in the book, goddammit, if I knew you. Mark D. Brown. Another dollar. More money from Mark? Stop. $1.99. Used to watch ECW on MSG Network, 1 a.m. Saturday. That is where I discovered it. So, though that deal put you out of business, Todd, it's where I found it. It's where Mark found it. And God, we used to, one of us would tape it, and then when my friends would get together in college, whoever was able to tape it that Saturday night would bring it, and we would watch it. It was amazing. It was a phenomenon. It was a phenomenon.
It was lightning in a bottle. We're the Howard Stern of wrestling, and it could never have been duplicated. And a lot of people have tried. I couldn't even duplicate it myself today. It just was the right time, the right place. Only thing missing was the internet. If we had the internet, we'd have made money. Oh my God. We could have sold every show we did like for $2, $5 all over the world. No internet, no money.
Yeah. I mean, and it actually, the internet's it started right in that curve, but it was still too young. The ECW was still in its The internet was still in its infancy for you guys to have been able to really take advantage of it. But yeah, if you were able to shrink the world and make it as small as the internet made it, ECW would have taken over the world, no question.
I think I did the first Prodigy chat with Bob Ryder. I didn't even know what I was doing, but he said
Prodigy chats.
He said you're talking to people. He said you're talking to people like all over the world. I said, "What do you? I don't understand. What do you mean?" He goes, "Let me just interview you, and I'll explain it to you later." I said, "Okay." That's pretty much how it went.
Similar to the discussion we had a half hour ago.
Yes.
IATA was the first internet radio station. I used to listen to Dave Meltzer's show on there.
Was his show all one run-on sentence?
Yes, I guess it mirrored the early newsletters.
So no punctuation.
That was a Herculean task. Dave had to put all that information in a weekly newsletter. I think it was bi-weekly first, and then or no, maybe it was weekly, and then it was bi-weekly. I don't remember. No, I think it had to be weekly, right? It was up to date coverage. Hasso used to go to those Prodigy chats. Did you hear Todd when you were there? Now, those of you in the room can bring up your questions throughout this show. Those of you that are key holders that subscribe to the paid version of the KC Vault, and you have, how many hours is this, Steve? I don't even, hundreds of hours.
Close to 1,000. Like a hair under 1,000. It's over 900.
Of our KC programs through the years that revolutionized the wrestling aftermarket. Everything you see on the WWE Network now.
What bank is that vault in?
Which bank?
Yeah.
The bank of kayfabe.
The bank of kayfabe. It's
kayfabe. Steve, ding, ding, ding.
Those of you that are key holders will get a special opportunity at the end of this show at 9:00. You're going to be given a link. Steve's going to send you a special link that you can come into a separate room, and we're going to give away a signed copy of the book. So, Steve, I'm correct in this? Yes, where we will log off at 9, and then the key holders will use that second special link to come in the room, and me and Todd will be in there again, and we'll give away a signed copy.
Yes.
What a racket.
I'm posting that link to the chat right now.
Great.
Racket.
Those of you that, well, hold on, Steve, because I think those of you that, how many subscribers? We have like 39,000 subscribers, right? All the 39,000 who are here for free. If you want to become a paid member, you can do that now with that button right there. And
which button?
On YouTube, you're watching on YouTube, there's a join button, and if you click join for just $14.99 a month, you'll get all of the KC Pro. Our entire vault opens up to you, and you can watch it whenever you want in that exclusive channel on demand. And you'll be able to come into the room in a few minutes with me and Todd, and we'll have a submissive tied to the bed for you. You can hop on, and then we'll give you a book. How about some more questions? I know people here. Not often you get access to the man that created the most influential wrestling company of the 90s. BX Socks says, I have a question. Have you ever been called Hot Toddy?
Nah.
Nah.
I mean, one night, but
he says with the excitement of no Hot Toddy, but that would have been a good one. Todd, it was always Toddster.
The Todd Father,
right? It was pretty much those two, right?
Yeah.
No, BX. Derek Henstrom. Todd, if Eddie Gilbert didn't have his demons and continued to book, was the plan to also be extreme?
I thought, in all honesty, what Eddie was booking was extreme. I mean, it was the Memphis bloody, use any kind of a weapon, trash cans, whatever style. And that, to me, is exactly what I was looking for. We just didn't use the word extreme back then because it wasn't really a common word until Paul decided that was going to be the word of the future. And he was right. He had his finger on the pulse. He said, hey, everything's going to be extreme. Give it like another year. You're going to see extreme sports, extreme this, extreme. I go, okay. I mean, I was up and down. Fine, let's go for it. But yeah, I think Eddie Gilbert was already extreme.
Yeah.
Eddie Gilbert was a great booker. Eddie Gilbert was a great guy. I miss Eddie Gilbert a lot.
Brian O'Brien says Eddie was perfect for ECW.
And yes, he was.
Yeah.
He had iron balls. I mean, he would go out in the streets of Philadelphia dressed with a crown on, his cape on, King Eddie Gilbert t-shirt, and walk into dance clubs where no one knew who the hell he was, or what ECW was, or what wrestling even was, and walk through the clubs with Matt Radica with one camera and a bright light behind him, saying, "Hey, how you doing?" and just start engaging people. And they thought, this guy's crazy. Don't make eye contact. He was that funny. He went to, again, Jim Steaks, the King of Steaks. That was his name. And he started getting a fight with a guy who's doing the cheesesteaks. He goes, "Hey, I'm the king of Philadelphia." And the guy's going, "No, King of Steaks, King of Steaks." He goes, "No, I'm the king." And next thing you know, they're having this war. And he's just, working the guy. And the guy's getting furious that Eddie's telling him he's the king instead of Jim Steaks. But he was funny. Eddie was great.
And you're taping it all for those early shows. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's great. Guys, the book is Tod is God. It's everywhere. It's probably in your local Barnes & Noble, but you can go online, bn.com, amazon.com, booksamillion.com. It's even available online at target.com, walmart.com. Get it, or if you like audio, I will tell you the story for 8+ hours via Audible or Apple Books, wherever you get your audio books. I'm not bullshitting you here. This is a great book. This is a book I would have read had I not written it with Tod.
You did a great job on the audio. I'll tell you that straight up.
Thank you. Jen Vargo, thank you. She just subscribed to the paid channel. Thank you for coming aboard, Jen. Maybe you'll win that book. Dinosaur Rex, you never became Commissioner Gordon. Remember the Batman series?
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon.
I was Commissioner Gordon.
But did they use the reference to Batman?
No, they just called me Commissioner Gordon. I mean, there were maybe one or two interviews in the ring where somebody said, "Oh, what are you, Batman?"
Okay,
but for the most part, yeah, it was always Commissioner Gordon. Or Raven always just called me Commish. Every time he told me, "Hey, Commish, I've got the greatest idea in the world, smarter than anybody else's idea in the history of wrestling."
Yeah, I really should be the commissioner, but you're the commissioner, so that's okay. But I really should be the commissioner.
Because I'm Mensa.
Love Scotty.
Me too. Me too.
What else we got here in the room?
And if you don't think he's the smartest guy in the business, you just ask him.
There you go. Hasso. Whose idea was it for Tommy Rich to be the Don for the FBI? It was so weird and unexpected that it was great.
If you think about it, the whole FBI was unexpected. I mean, you had J.T. Smith, full-blooded Italians. From there, it could only just be sillier and sillier. We needed comedy in our shows. I mean, the BWO was comedy. The FBI was comedy. I mean, we had to always have some kind of we tried to have something, a little bit of everything. Violence, mat wrestling, Guerrero, Malenko, Benoit, and comedy. Had to have something to lighten the mood a little bit. Public Enemy did comedy, but they were violent also. But yeah,
everybody, yeah.
FBI and the whole BWO, all comedy.
Dantese says, Tod, did JT Smith have something to do with your jewelry store getting robbed? Oh, here we go again.
By the way, you started a fight, Sean, with Sammy and I that we were in South Carolina a month ago and he said, "I never said that." I said, "Well, Sean said you did." He goes, "Who's Sean?" I go,
"Right,
the guy you did like 7 or 8 DVDs with." He goes, "Yeah, I don't remember him." I said, "I can understand how that could happen, but still, yeah, that's what he says. You sent me a piece of that."
Yep.
And it actually didn't quite say that, but still, he goes, it was either way. Yeah, no, he didn't. For the people who were actually asking,
he didn't do it, but Sandman absolutely alluded to that in the interview. It was an inside job, if you ask me. JT Smith worked there, you know that. Well, what does that sound like to you?
Sounds like Sandman sitting on the floor doing an interview with you while he's whacked.
He was. Dantese, no, JT was actually one of the most upstanding. If you read the book, you'll see why he got the job at Carver Reed, because he was the most upstanding guy in the locker room in those early days. Is that fair to say, Tod?
100%. We did a show at the Chestnut Cabaret. We had sold all these tickets our first show there, and like a week before the show, the owner says, "By the way, no one under 21 can get in the building." I said, "What are you talking about? We've sold like 500 tickets already." He goes, "Yeah, well, this is a nightclub." I go, "Yeah, this is a Saturday afternoon when you're not open. What are you talking about? We can't let them in." I said, "Well, put bracelets on them, like do it like at baseball games and football games. Don't so they can't drink." Nope, they can't come in. We had to literally give back the money to like hundreds of people who were coming with their kids. So we ended up with this show with Ivan Koloff and Jimmy Snook and et cetera, et cetera. And we drew like 100 people. And we'd already sold 500 tickets in advance. Now it's 100 people there. End of the show comes, I'm paying everybody because, hey, that's what I do. I give my word, I'm going to pay you, I pay you. Boom, boom. Last guy's JT Smith. I hand him a check. He goes, "I can't take that." I said, "What do you mean you can't take that?" He goes, "I can't take that. You get killed tonight." I said, "Everybody took their check. You're the last guy. Take your damn check." He said, "I can't take that." I said, and he ripped it up.
Yeah.
Everybody else had taken their money. I said, "JT, what do you do for a living?" He said, "I'm an usher in a movie theater." I said, "Yeah, not anymore. You want to have a job at Carver Reed? I love your honesty. I love your ethics. Like, seriously, you're a great man." I brought him in, hired him, and he did a great job for me.
And the Italian thing came out of you sending him to the ring to Sinatra music because you thought it would heal him.
And it did for the first show. And after that, our crowd was so smart and so hip. They're going, "I get it. This is awesome. A black guy doing Sinatra in South Philly where, it's all Italians and black people are scared to even come into South." And they went from booing him to loving him.
Yeah, that's great. That was great. How about another question? David Frederick, what happened to the ECW title belts? More especially the second one, like the Pennsylvania title that Tommy Cairo had.
Not a clue. I mean, I left in 97. It ended in 2001. So we have those belts in the 4 years in between. I don't know. I don't even remember what could have happened to the Pennsylvania title. But Tommy Cairo is still doing stuff today, believe it or not, 30 years later. He's working with Jason Knight, the sexiest man on earth, in his own promotion at ACW, I believe.
Yeah. Were there multiple belts for each of the titles, or did you hang on to the singular title for the run?
Singular.
You know how like they remake the belts every?
No, I think we remade the belts. Well, Taz, of course, had to make his own belt, because he didn't get one of ours.
Right.
So he made it the Taz belt, and the Taz Championship, and everybody else. The belts were probably remade once, maybe ever, all of them.
Right. Okay.
Also, to that question, specifically the belt that Shane Douglas picked up after he threw down the NWA title, Conrad Thompson owns that belt. If we're tracking any of them down, so the ECW World title from that year, I think 94.
You know what else? We knew somebody stole that belt. I can't believe it was Conrad Thompson. That son of a bitch stole that belt.
He also has the original yellow sign that what's his name made for you, fucking Butchie.
Fucking Butchie.
Yeah.
Bob Ortiz's home phone number.
Yeah.
He has that, and then he has a lot of belts. He has the big gold belt. Someone in the comments, hopefully I can find it quickly, says he chains them all together to keep his wallet up. Okay, I like that. That's a good comment.
James Western with that. A little bit of comedy. Hey, listen, I think it's time for another reading. I think we should read another
God. You killed me with the first one. I'm
of the book.
I did not know about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's a cavalcade of stars. Ladies and gentlemen, Dame Judi Dench is here. Missy Hyatt landed on Sandman's radar when she first came into ECW. "I'm going to fuck Missy Hyatt," Hack said, devoid of ambiguity. He was a huge mark for her. I told him he was nuts, but he was insistent. A few months later, we were working a show in Glen Olden, Pennsylvania, across the street from a cemetery. During the show, I stepped outside the building for a minute when I heard my name being called. There was no one in the parking lot, but I could make out something across the street, in the graveyard. Yo Gordon. It was unmistakably Hack's voice. I stepped closer and could see him in the cemetery, as well as Missy Hyatt, bent over a headstone. He was behind her and giving her the business. I told you so, Hack yelled again, and he kept plowing. It was endearing, his need to share this conquest with me. Another time, we were at a show in New York when I stepped into the bathroom we were using to change. There were about 8 workers in there, and I kept hearing this thud, thud, thud. I walked past the sink area, and there was Hack standing behind Missy again, her head bonking against the side of the sink. I stopped in amazement. Why wouldn't she just lift up her head? She turned to me. Hi, boss, she said, and her noggin was driven into the sink again and again. The shit you see at work. Thank you.
Thank you, Dame. That's nice.
This is amazing who we're having.
She's awesome
tonight. This is like a telethon of some
I don't know how you found all these people. It's
like a telethon for the retarded. Anytime you want to change that lower third there, Steve, back to Sean Oliver, that would be fine. Chronicles of Riddick, 2004. Thank you very much.
Steve rocks, by the way.
He does indeed. So let's hear from you. This is about you tonight, guys. What else do you have? Kevin Gilso, is this KG himself? Todd, any memories of the groundbreaking Cyber Slam convention?
Yeah, that was something that apparently no one had ever done. There was a fan, Tom Misnick, who I believe organized the whole thing. He had people who used to be online, I guess, and talk to each other in these chat rooms. And they all came in for a convention. I think maybe the first convention anybody had ever done. I'm not sure about that, but they all came in and we had the Q&As and all the staff was up there. All the wrestlers were up there talking to the fans. They had to ask their questions directly. It was a monumental moment. And I think the show itself, CyberSlam, I think we called it, was a great show. It was like Sandman's big coming out party too. It was.
Did you say Misnick's coming out party?
Stop that! You just stop that.
What did you say?
I said it was Sandman's. Like,
oh,
Sean.
You weirdo.
You're like, what's the guys? What are the Muppets? What are their names again?
Statler and Waldorf.
There you are, man. You're right up in the balcony right now.
There's a great shot of us with the original puppets, by the way.
Muppets.
The Muppets.
Mike Johnson would be pissed if you said puppets.
Oh, I called them puppet. That's true. With the original Muppets, Statler and Waldorf.
Shout out to Mike Johnson.
Yes, and congratulations on his speakership that he acquired the other day. It was so hard last night doing the Click the Show covering the Speaker of the House induction. Every time I said Mike Johnson, I felt the need to qualify the statement for any wrestling fans that might not have known.
Oh, for Wrestling Insider.
Yeah. What else we have? AJ, did you like the ECW arena?
Well, I didn't like it. I loved it. It was a damn toilet with a leaking roof that had the most intense, crazy, insane fans, to me, in the history of wrestling. That group of fans transcended what an audience normally does. Their chants became the chants everywhere we went. They came up with something. You'd see it in New York. You'd see it in Florida. You'd see it everywhere we went. Their chants. They were so creative. They were so interactive with us. They were such a part of the show. They were a part of the show. They were the Rocky Horror Picture Show. They started it. They got everybody else doing it. And yeah, that audience made that building. We could have done that anywhere with that audience. But that audience happened in that building, and that's what made that building special and unique.
Yeah. as bad as it was from a facility standpoint, what it came to mean was what made it iconic and legendary. Even today, it's the 2300 arena now, but people run there all the time. And the reason they run there is not because it's a big empty square in South Philly. It's because it was the ECW arena.
Right. It was Viking Hall when we got there. And, the guy, fucking Butchie, I said, I want to call this the ECW arena. How do we do that? He goes, well, we can do anything, I said, so how much to change the sign to ECW arena? And, of course, he came over with a number and changed the ECW arena / bingo.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry. What happened? / bingo? How much are the bingo paying people? They're not paying. Anyway, Butchie's the best. The arena worked out fine for us. It's still today. It's like a whole different building. You walk in there, you're like, there was never a bar here, a restaurant here.
Yeah,
it's great today. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles actually helped make that thing upgraded by coming and having their ring ceremony there after they won the Super Bowl, and they paid a fortune to paint the building, to extend the building, to do the whole outside over. And that building's nice now.
We were talking last night. I think Steve made the suggestion during the Click This broadcast that since WrestleMania is in Philly next year, Steve was like, you guys should do a live broadcast from the ECW arena. And someone more cynical than I was like, there's no way WWE left that building open for that weekend. So we went online. And is it true, Steve? We confirmed that WWE has booked the building so no one can run that weekend.
That's not confirmed.
It's not correct. I'll tell you right now, Timothy Ember and Rob Feinstein, their group Battleground Championship Wrestling, has a book for that Friday night.
Do they really?
They do.
So this is the WWE website. They have their championship package. I can't read that, but
sorry. So their championship package includes an ECW experience with Rob Van Dam.
Which was going to be a tour of the building, right?
It was, I'll say, presumed that was going to be a tour of the ECW arena with him and probably a couple other unannounced guests. Once again, these people are paying like $6 to $10,000 for a champion package that I think they're sold out.
Well, that Friday before the 2 nights of WrestleMania, there's a convention there and a show that night, that Friday night, which almost all the ECW crew is going to be on. Myself, Sandman, Fonzie, the Dudley Boys. I mean, it's like going to be Shane Douglas. I mean, it's going to be it's called Tribute to the Extreme 2. It's not my show, but I will be appearing on that show, and it's already booked. So that's the way I'm telling you straight up.
So everybody, get your tickets out there for that. That sounds like a worthy. What are you on there, Steve?
So I'm on their official website. So the Mark Hitchcock Memorial WrestleCon Super Show that's happened every year, that's going to be there Thursday the 4th, and then you're right, Friday the 5th, it's Battleground Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
And you're saying Saturday the 6th, there's also...
Friday the 5th, there's a convention during the day and a show that night. And it's called Tribute to the Extreme 2. They did it once before. And they're bringing in all these ECW guys for a show that night. And it's going to blow people away.
Tajiri versus Super Crazy, ringside tickets are $150.
All right.
And a row 2 is $125. So a row 1 ticket. That's... I'll put that on my calendar.
$150. I gotta get more money. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a phone call. Everybody remember that we will be premiering the Timeline 92-93, the History of ECW episode, the double episode I did with Todd at the ECW Arena here on the channel. It'll be free all month for everybody, but those of you that want additional content, make sure you click the join button. It's right there. Look, it's right there. Just hit it. Just press it.
I'll see it.
Go, not your cock. I'm next to that. It's the join.
Nothing I can see.
It's only slightly smaller than the button. Click it and join the KC Vault. $14.99 a month, 1,000 hours of programming from the KC. And at 9 o'clock, you'll be able to come into a separate link that you're going to get as a key holder. And we're going to auction off, we're going to raffle off a book. signed book. And how about some more questions? We want to hear from you guys. This is about you. Old school wrestling fan.
There we
Todd,
go.
did you like working with Meanie?
Meanie's great. I did not want Meanie's character in the show. Raven came to me and goes, I've got an idea for another character besides Stevie Richards. Who? The Blue Meanie. I go, from the Beatles? He's, yeah. I go, I don't get it. Raven's gimmick was he tried to get as many people in his group or posse as possible, so he has to take the least amount of bumps as possible. He was very smart that way. The more people in his group taking the bumps for him, the less bumps he had to take. And that's what gave me the Blue Meanie. I said, I really, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Next thing I know, he said, just let me try it one time. Go ahead, go for it. It was a smash. And Meanie took it and ran with it. And to this day is making money off it. I mean, God bless him. It's a great character. He's a great guy. And yeah, that's Meanie's story.
He is. I love Brian. Also, Raven might have had brought the most amount of workers, but he probably brought, as we talked about in the book, the most amount of strippers in for job interviews to ECW as well.
100%. Kimona Wanalea, amongst a slew of others who never quite made it out of the ring. But yes, Scotty was notorious for going out to a club, promising someone a job on TV in ECW, and maybe getting them one, maybe not getting them one, but yeah, Scotty was God back then.
What else we have in the house? Let's get some more questions for Tod Gordon, founder of ECW. Derek Henstrom, how did the partnership with Tommy Boy Records start?
I think New Jack originated that, by the way. And then they got involved with Scorpio, contacted us about using that music for Scorpio. And then Vince got involved in that. I don't remember the exact particulars of that. I mean, again, we're going back 30 years. There's some stories that I have like indelibly marked in my brain and some that are foggy. So I can't really say how that exactly started, but I know that they were paying Vince or paying us to use that music for Scorpio when he came out. And that's how Scorpio became part of our crew. Well, he was already there from the first tournament. He was there from the end, for the tournament when we became Extreme. Scorpio was the last match against Shane Douglas.
Right.
When Shane threw the belt down and became Extreme.
Right. How about it? Dinosaur Rex, thoughts, opinions on One Night Stand?
I would have liked One Night Stand a lot better had they used more talent than they did from the original ECW. I mean, Shane Douglas wasn't invited. Joey Styles wasn't invited. I wasn't invited. There were a lot of people that weren't invited to that that should have been. If they were really going to try to do something special, instead of having matches against WWE stars, Cena, whoever it may be, it was their best attempt, by the way, of all, of trying to actually do something ECW-ish. And everything they did after that was just an abortion. I mean, when Vince recreated his version of ECW, there's not a doubt in my mind from what everybody's told me that this man was doing this just to bury the name ECW. He hated the fact that at his shows, somebody would do a big spot where he was waiting for that big pop in the back in the gorilla position, and they were yelling ECW, ECW. He just wanted to destroy it at that point. So he went so far as to say, how can I make them hate ECW? I'll make myself ECW champion. Yep, Vince is the champion of ECW. And of course, they hated it. Everybody hated it. But it ended, and guess what? And that's 15 years later, whatever, they're still chanting ECW. It's an incredible, humbling, and miraculous thing.
How about another reading? We can get another reading from the
the
book Todd is God, available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble, all the book outlets, as well as on audiobook. Let's see. Another reading from the book.
You're nuts. Oh, Jesus.
I became close to Paul's mother, and she told me a remarkable story that spotlit the extent of Paul's deceptiveness. She was reviewing Paul's math homework when he was in grade school and pointed out that he'd gotten one wrong. No, I didn't, he told her. The math book is wrong. They made a mistake when they printed it. He was so casual and confident about it. She tried to reason with him, but he argued with her for 2 hours until finally she went to bed thinking, well, the book could be wrong. Sometimes books are misprinted. He was that good. He perfected it by the time I hired him. I referenced that math book story a bunch of times in ECW, and he popped every time I did. He was so proud. Paul kept New Jack off a New York card one night by telling him the State Athletic Commission representative was coming down to the show looking for Jack after something he did to his daughter. I guess Jack believed it. Imagine how many girls you have to fuck with to believe the New York State Athletic Commission rep was one of their dads. New Jack and Paul got into an altercation one night in the dressing room, and Jack called Paul a motherfucking liar. Paul got fired up. I'm a motherfucking liar? Name one thing I lied to you about. You mean today? Jack replied. Thank you. Well, we thank him for being a part of the reading.
That was so lame.
Reading a chapter of the book.
He sounded much more like Dame Judi Dench than he did Paulie.
That was the perfect finish to the readings. Are you kidding me? More from you guys. More from the house. Unless you want Judi Dench to come back. Kevin Gill, Todd, do you think Bruiser Brody would have been a great fit in ECW had he still been alive?
1,000%. I mean, come on. Bruiser Brody, Abdul the Butcher who was there, the Sheik who was there, Kevin Sullivan, the Devil Worship. I mean, that was the guys that I admired and loved to watch. That's the kind of shows I wanted to see, and that's the kind of shows I put on. Our first big main event was Stan Hansen, Kevin Sullivan, Terry Funk, and Bruiser Brody. I mean, and Abdul the Butcher. Phew, that's a match I wanted to see. And the fans who were like me, who were in our arena, they liked the same thing I liked. I could have been in the stands with them watching it. I loved that. They loved it. And that was where that whole symbiotic relationship came from. Like, they were like me. I was like them. It just worked.
Yeah.
Bruiser Brody would have been awesome in ECW.
Yeah, agreed. Another question. Mark D. Brown, I wish ECW went to Rochester back in the day. You didn't go up that far, right?
Did we? I know we're in Buffalo. My geography is not great, so is Rochester below Buffalo?
It's still upstate. I don't know geographically how close they are. Mark, you could tell us, or Steve, your most valuable job is sending me those private notes during the show for all the things I don't know and I get wrong. Okay, here we go. Did ECW ever run a show in Rochester? Zoom in. Yes, ECW ran at least 2 shows in Rochester, New York. The first show was on July 25th, 1997 at the Rochester Convention Center. Second was May 8th, 1998 at the same venue. Additionally, there's a fan cam recording of a show in Rochester on December 11th, 1997.
Well, there you go.
There you go, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
And
$1.99.
Derek, Paul Heyman's WCW mole story in ECW. How true was it? Well, that's reason alone to get the book, Derek. But
that's the hook in the book. I mean, that tells you the whole damn story. The whole damn story is Paul and I working together. And the reason I wrote the book, other than the fact that this guy pestered me for over 2 years to do it, was the fact that story was still being told as a work. Like, again, Francine, Bubba, Dreamer, none of them knew the truth. And until I saw his DVD come out, My Name is Paul Heyman, or whatever the hell they call it. And he said, yeah, the most, I was like mortified. It was 25 years later. And I realized he never told anybody. We did this together. He's losing the locker room. The locker room was falling apart. They were all going to cliques. We had never had cliques. Now we had cliques. He said, I'm losing the locker room. I said, well, I'm going because everybody wants to leave. I'm out. And he said, you got to help me. You got to help me bring the locker room back together. It was always us against the world. Yeah, it was. Now what? He goes, now I got to make us be us again. So can you be? I need you to be the world, be the bad guys. I need you to do something. If you do this, just say nothing. I'll say nothing. I will be asked 1,000 times, believe me, for a story or a comment. I will never comment. And you agree to never comment also, we can make this work and get the locker room back together. And next year, you'll come back as the greatest heel in the history of professional wrestling. Oh my God. The guy who took the company under my oh, you. I said, Paul, stop it. It's me. I'm not one of the boys. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm not planning on coming back. You don't have to sell me. You need the locker room back. I'll try to help where I can do. But stop that.
That was a great Judi Dench, by the way. Ian Drew Dice Clay. Todd, loved the book so much. I bought it on Audible and the physical copy. I have a question. Did ECW think about touring the UK? You'd have sold out 10K arenas easily.
We already were going so much faster than we could afford. It never even occurred to me to go to that level. I mean, I was still trying to figure out where in the United States we could run and not get our asses kicked monetarily. I mean, again, there was no internet per se. It was just people were trading tapes. I would have loved to go to the UK. I would have loved to go to Canada. I would have loved to go to a lot of places we never quite got to. But keeping up with the money was like almost impossible. And when the pay-per-view started, forget about it. They're taking like $250,000 for a pay-per-view up front and paying you for that pay-per-view like 2 months later. But meanwhile, they want another $250,000 for the next pay-per-view, or you can't lock that date in. Well, how about paying me for the first pay-per-view so I can pay you for the second pay-per-view? It didn't work that way.
Yeah.
And it was just like, there's no chance to catch up. It was awful.
The only way for people in UK to have seen ECW was through tape trading, right? You didn't have television coverage there.
No.
It would have been the tape traders, which, I mean, I know Japan. It started. You started to notice it when you were getting tape orders from Japan and everything. And
early on, I was like, I don't understand. They know our product in Japan. They don't even know it's in New Jersey. How the hell do they know it's in Japan? And then I learned about tape traders.
Yeah. It's funny. You know what I came across on YouTube? There was a wrestling show late Saturday nights into Sunday mornings on WFAN, our sports station in New York, in the late 80s, early 90s. Jody McDonald was the DJ that would host it.
Jody Mack, do me a favor.
And he's in Philly now, right? He's been in Philly.
He was, yeah.
He was, yeah. So his show overnight, he would have Rich Mancuso on, who was a wrestling expert. For some reason, I before or since I'd never heard his name, but he would go on the show and they would talk about the inside dealings in wrestling. It was basically a dirt sheet on radio. I know he had Meltzer on as a guest, Wade Keller on as a guest.
Nobody credible?
Sometimes you hear some weird stuff like, oh, they're going to break the Rockers up, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, which is a terrible move because Shawn Michaels is not going to have a singles career. Why are they doing this? And,
by the way, Sandman used to call into the Jody Mack show.
Oh.
And he'd go, Sandman! And like he just by calling in, he'd go, Jody Mack, do me a favor. And then they actually established a rapport from him being a caller on the show.
Wow. But my point was that the shows I found on YouTube are all from like late 91, early 92, and they didn't ever get to ECW start. It's like right before that. So I'm wondering if anybody has them. I'd love to hear what the coverage was when ECW started to make waves. They probably didn't cover the early 92 stuff, but later in 92.
Yeah, 92 early stuff is bar shows in front of 80 people. I wouldn't cover it either. That's embarrassing.
Right. But once you started getting in the sheets, they would have had to start to cover it.
And that was Eddie Gilbert.
Right.
Eddie Gilbert said, what's next? What do you want to do? I said, well, no one's even covering us. I pick up these wrestling sheets, and there's Smoky Mountain, and we're drawing as much as they are, if not more. And our shows are like 10 times better than theirs are. Like, he goes, you want to be in the sheets? I said, yeah, that's what I'm saying. 2 weeks later, there's the tourist, there's the Observer. I'm like, how do you do that? What? Obviously, I learned later on how that worked, but back then I was like, it was like magic. 2 weeks later, we're everywhere.
Yeah. So those of you that would like to come to our key holder room now for a drawing for a signed copy of Tod is God and maybe a little more chatter. Join.
We're not doing another hour?
I said 8 o'clock. You clutched your heart when I said that to you. So click the join button below. Join the KC Vault as a key holder. The vault opens to you at such time, and you get access to 1,000 hours of Kayfabe Commentaries programming, the Timeline series, the You Shoot series that changed the shoot aftermarket, and so much of what you see now in podcasts and WWE Network shows were born of that programming. And Tod is God in hardcover or in Kindle or Kobo, if you read that. Is that even still a thing? I don't know.
Or Audible.
Or Audible, if you would like to hear my Sandman impression.
If you want to see more of us, contact Steve.
Yeah, let him put something together, for God's sakes. Maybe we'll sit around and bullshit every once in a while on this channel.
It'll be better than you and Nash.
It'll be better than me and Nash. Oh! All right, key holders, we're going to meet you at that special link in 2 minutes for a drawing. Get yourself a signed copy and some more fun chat. So we will see you shortly in that special key holder link. Thank you all.
Thank you all, really. 2 minutes, I can make a drink.